George, Mr. Collins is recognized for 5 minutes.
Took too much time off. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sitting here trying to make some notes and ask a few things of my chairman. Is it Cavalier? Cavalier?
It's Cuvalier, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Cavalier, does the National Parks, wait a minute, we're from the South. Does the National Park Service modify the terms and conditions of public gathering permits based on the group that is requesting the permit? Like, for instance, would a group with a history of violence or destruction of federal property be subject to additional terms and conditions to ensure the preservation and safety of federal lands?
Thank you for the question, sir. Yes, in fact, since the July events, what we are putting as a condition of permits the need to not only provide the marshals for your event, but the names of those individuals who would be the lead, so we have a point of contact should that become necessary during the.
So the marshals are part of the group, right? They're not part of your people.
They're part of the group. They are non-law enforcement personnel.
Self-law enforcement. What tools does the National Park Service have to mitigate violence from radical groups that have no intention of conducting a peaceful permit?
We rely upon the United States Park Police Intel Unit and our collaborative network of interagency partners, including like the Metropolitan Police Department, the United States Secret Service. It is dependent a little bit on the event in terms of who has primary lead, but all those groups come together to share relevant intelligence information.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, when we got there that night to put those flags back up, it was Metro Police that was there. Y'all weren't around. Had the Answer Coalition been cited for permit violations with the National Park Service during any of their previous events?
Answer Coalition as an organization has not been cited, no, sir.
Okay. Well, I've got down that there was. Are y'all considering changing any of your permit process at all?
With each event, we undergo an after-action review to figure out if there are better ways we can operate in the operating environment. As was expressed in the flash report provided by the IG, whether we can also improve the conditions of the permit to address some of the things like, as was described, the bag drops that were made at a previous event, so that those event organizers can make it clear to their participants what's allowable in the event, and then how to reduce the likelihood of that reoccurring, as an example, sir.
All right, so the Shut It Down for Palestine event, even though they were hosted by Answer Coalition, and I think many other different groups participated, none of these groups, they're not held liable for violating the terms of the permit. So how do you intend on changing that?
We need to work with our partners in the Solicitor's Office and the Department of Justice if we're going to seek restitution in any amount. So we would seek the advice of agency counsel as well as DOJ before pursuing some restitution.
So, but you think they ought to be held liable?
If we put forth conditions of a permit and they're not met, we should do our best to ensure the conditions are met before or after the fact. Yes, sir.
I'm not following.
If a condition of the permit explicitly states, for instance, that you need to provide marshals and you don't, we need to intervene and address that issue when it happens. If a condition of a permit relates to being held accountable for damages, we would again work with our DOJ partners to see if restitution can be made.
All right, well, let me ask you, so if you could make any improvements to the public gathering permit process to make it more transparent, and to further include law enforcement expertise, what would you do? I mean, change the marshals maybe?
What we've tried to do is make it clear to the permittee their obligations and responsibility to notify their participants in advance of what they, for instance, what they can and cannot bring, that they give us notice of who their marshal leads are so that they can be contacted in the event there is a need for them to maintain good order. It is on the permittee, it is the primary responsibility is on the permittee to be responsible for their participants.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I'll tell you what I think I've learned here in this short circle of answers is the fact that we rely on some self-governance out there Man doesn't even know how many people were on site from the National Park Police during this thing. We don't pursue any violators. There's no process to recoup damages. But in typical bureaucrat fashion, the answer to all the questions is more money so that we can hire more people to watch what's going on. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
I think the gentleman